Hello and welcome to the PFLAG LA Podcast. It's a monthly podcast released on the first Tuesday of every month, dedicated to bridging families, friends, and allies of the queer community. I'm your host and moderator, Thomas Callahan. And with me are my co-hosts.
Hi, I'm Farah Dotis. I'm the president of PFLAG LA, and I'll throw it to Corey.
And hello, I am Corey Berry, and I am co-chair, advocacy co-chair, and DEI officer of PFLAG LA.
And our guest today will be Coach and Ally Orlando Bishop. And our mission here today is to inform, educate, provide resources, and to support you to strengthen your advocacy as family members, friends, and allies of the LGBTQ plus community. So let's begin, as we would like every podcast to begin, with a word of the day from PFLAG's National Glossary. Corey, what do you have?
I'm happy to say that the word spotlight of today is ally. As we know, ally is a term that we love because we need them in our lives every day as friends. But in general terms, ally means a person that supports and stands up for either a friend or a group of people that they believe in. So in context of the LGBTQ community, an ally is someone who supports the LGBTQ person, community, organization, etc. And a couple of prime examples that I want to mention about ally today, as far as being a good ally, is standing up even when the person is not in the room. So if somebody is being homophobic, you can say something, even if that person's not there. You could be in a grocery store, you could be shopping, you could be in a class. It's just one of those things that we want to make sure we stand up for people. So that is our word spotlight of the day.
All right, great. Thank you, Corey. And of course, along with being informed, we want to be involved. So Farah, it's January 2026. Is there an event you'd like to share that people can get involved in?
Yeah, absolutely. So it turns out our friends at the LA LGBT Center, every year they host this wonderful event called New Year, New Me. I'm just going to read their little brief summary of it. It says, want to reinvent yourself in 2026? Excuse us. Join us at the end of January for lunch, activities to kickstart your New Year's makeover, and more. So that will be happening at the end of January. We will get that date for you in the description.
Thank you. And a reminder that anything we say in our podcast, we will also be having on the PFLAG LA website so that you can go to that and get either links or telephone numbers or just more information about what we talked about. And if you have an event or there's a word or term you would like us to address in our podcast, our email is podcast@pflagla.org. So it's time to welcome our guest, Orlando Bishop. Thanks for being with us today, Orlando.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Orlando Bishop, know Farah specifically through group Shades that we didn't sing in together, but we both sang in that group in college. And so that was how I became aware of this opportunity that we'll talk about to come and walk during Pride. And yes, it made me smile that today's word was ally, because that's a word I embrace, and I think it leaves room for growing. That you may not know everything and not know all the terms or all the issues or a lot of things. I'm constantly learning, but it says I'm signing up for it though. Like I want to know, I want to do better, I want to help, and I think my experience has been, there's a story I'll tell a little later, I think, but my experience has been that when people experience you that way, even when you mess up, which I've been known to do, that you get a little bit of grace because they know you're an ally. So at any rate, I'm excited to be a part of this conversation, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So, Coach Orlando, I want to first say thank you. I first met you when you were an ally at the Pride Parade, and that's what stood out to me. And that's why I'm glad I learned a little bit more about you then. and now, because I think if the foundation of what you do is coaching, helping people get to the next level, that's important to the community. So what I want to
Mm.
first ask you,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what I identified with when I saw you as a Black man,
Mm-hmm.
growing up in this kind of same era. I'm not gonna try
Yeah,
to say what your age is, but I think we
hey
grew up in.
man, hey man. I am literally a gray beard. You're not gonna offend me. You might be insulting yourself, bro.
Yeah, we're the same age. We're the same age, I think.
Really? Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. So no,
I
I'm
love it.
I'm giving
I
you
love it.
kudos. So
All right.
yeah, based on that and me kind of having that identity, that common identity with you, what I wanted to first ask you, what have you experienced as a Black man that shaped you? And how has your experience helped you become an ally?
Yeah. So without, I was born the son of a sharecropper kind of deal. I grew up in Flatbush, Brooklyn in the 80s. And so I grew up in a space where in rough language and in not so rough language and simple little ways, you did not want anybody suggesting or thinking or in any way associating you with being gay, or anything of the sort. And there were boys who liked to jump double dutch. They got made fun of. They were like, not always, but it was very much a part of the culture. Deeply, unfortunately, because now I look back and go, like everyone should be able at some point look around in the world and go, yeah, there've been gay people everywhere the whole time. I've just been like supremely ignorant. And so there was always like a balance for me. I was never the person who was sort of at the head of any, bothering anybody or whatever, but I definitely was aware of and wanted to come across as quite manly. And then when I got to college, this is fast forwarding a bit, but when I got to college, and Farrah and I had a conversation about this, as you may have picked up already, and I can be a big personality. So I got to campus, people kind of knew me. And so jokes or things I would say kind of had a little bit more weight than you expect from, some freshman who just got here and doesn't have any grades yet. And so there was a guy, Jimmy Raines, on campus who openly gay and really a leader for queer people on campus and so on. And at Yale, there's a lot of activity politically and otherwise around that. And so Jimmy invited me to dinner and just was like, we need to talk. And my reaction was like, cool. Let's see. I'll say what I have to say. You say what you have to say. And we sat there. I can still take you. There's a new restaurant there now, but I could take you to the place where we were. And he just dismantled me. Like as a coach, like it was a blowout. It was a logical, political, social blowout. And one thing I don't take pride in some of the, frankly, knuckle dragging things I brought to that dinner table. But I do take pride in recognizing it was a blowout. I take pride in leaving that table going, yeah, there's going to be some changes. And I'm not saying I was instantly an ally, but it certainly was like, you have to stop saying stupid things.
Yeah.
Oh, this doesn't happen in nature. Well, it does. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, why didn't you know that, Orlando? Like, you're running around talking big. Like, did you ever think to crack a book? So that, and it's funny because right now that's a big thing of mine in the world is that I feel like, and I mean this very seriously, actually. People use to laugh when I say, but I'm like, I think we are overrun by stupid. Like, I think we have a stupidity epidemic. And by that, I mean, not just that people don't know things, but they're committed to the ignorant view. Like, if I'd gotten up from that table and been like, I still don't think it happens in nature. Like, that crosses from ignorance to stupidity. And I think we have a terrible amount of that. So, again, fast forward. And it was funny, my wife and I, we talked even before we had kids and sort of laughed, joked, talked about the fact that like, this would be a great house for a queer kid to be born into, right? Like we were just like, and our kids were born, we had twins, identified boy, girl at birth. And along the way, our child Maya shared, identifying as non-binary. And I think maybe I'm wrong, but I think I felt a little bit of nervousness, which I get. I mean, even knowing all of it, I get that there might be a little bit of hesitation. But what I said to Maya was, I'm going to mess this up. The pronoun, just let's establish that right now. I'm going to mess this up. What I need you to understand is that those are evidence of my brain needing rewiring, and in no way a reflection of how I feel about your choice or you. That is 100% me. And I think that was helpful. I think that was really helpful because it gave a context for like where I was coming from, and that I was like, I'm an ally. I'm just a clumsy ally looking to get better. So that's obviously it may be more than you were expecting, but like that's sort of a Cliff's Notes for those of our generation version of that journey for me. And yeah, the more I've thought about it, the more I've just felt like you can't be about justice for some. Like it just doesn't work.
Right.
So that sort of undergirds the conversation for me. Is like, I tell people all the time, if you're anti-queer, you're anti-black and nobody told you. If you're anti-queer, you know what I mean? Like, it's justice for all, or we get a lot of what we have right now.
Yeah. Well, it seems that it led you to what you love to do and what you're passionate about now, helping people,
Yes.
helping people align to what they want to do, the next step
Yes.
in life, or what their goals are, what they may be having going on their own. So how did you help that transition into your current role, aligning people with their futures?
Absolutely. And it is, you're right. It does align, to use the word, because at one point when I was in consulting, we did an exercise where they said, everybody had to come up with their brand, right, in the room. Just sort of like, what's your brand? And mine was, with a little bit of paraphrasing, Orlando coaches people to become the best versions of themselves, the version they barely dare to dream. That's what I want for you. And
you came up with that in the room?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
And the truth, and it's really the truth. And so to me, now, where I am now and all the work I'm like, if I'm forcing you to not be you, I am running counter to what I say I stand for. Like, fundamentally, if you're spending time masking it, that was actually, I'll sidestep for a second. In between that college to now I have kids, I did a few things. And one of those things was I taught high school English at my old school. And a man had come in to do, presentation in terms of, gay rights and dealing with issues in the school and so on. And he told a story about being left-handed and how he grew up at a time where you got in trouble for being left-handed. Like, they would force you to write with your right hand. And he talked about the fact that he's an adult sitting with his sibling, I forget if it was a brother, what have you, and he's writing, and his father came in the room and he switched to his right hand seamlessly. And I was just, like, something just sticks with you. I remember going like, nah, man, that's not right. Like, why are we doing that? If you're left-handed, write with your left hand. And so that, anyway, so for me, I want everybody, that is really at the core of a lot of things for me. I just want people to be the best they can be. And whether that's a kid, I tell a story on stage about a kid who, not an athlete by their estimation or anyone else's, but I convinced him to come out for flag football, which I had built this flag football program for my kid's school. And he caught touch, or it was a touchdown. And we talk about a kid who, we were lucky to get him to come out. I had to like make a deal with him to get him out. And that moment Like his parents were crying. He's just elated. He could have, he could have powered a city with that smile. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm out here. Like, yes, I'm out here for the kids who are top of the game and who I can teach things they need to know. But I like being the kind of coach who, like, you don't think you can catch, do you? You can catch, man. Come on. Come on. I'll show you how to catch. Come on. And I just think that I think if we have more of that energy generally, it would guide our decisions in a much different direction.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know we're getting down to time here, but I wanted to ask you
sorry.
something about the Pride Parade. I think that was a significant moment for me. You taught me. I don't think you realize this, but I was watching you. I was like observing just your aura, um, your presence, your confidence, your leadership, because you brought some
Well,
friends with you.
I
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
So yeah, that was very significant to me. I wasn't gonna.
Thank you.
I mean, I guess I waited for now to say something.
Yeah.
But what about Pride? That moment that you came, was there something that stood out for you in that
Absolutely.
moment? Or yeah, can you talk?
Absolutely. I felt like, well, there are a few things I felt. One of the things in my coaching I talk to people about all the time is like, one of the keys for the way I coach is you are never to feel alone if I'm your coach. That's the one thing you are like, you gotta text me, call me, but like you don't ever have to feel like you are alone. We are in this together. And I thought it was a great way to say we are in this together. And, we had the dad hugs shirts on. And I'll talk
Yes.
about my buddies because it was actually kind of funny how that unfolded. But there was some, and I say kids not being disrespectful, but just feel like they were like roughly the age of my kids. I mean, they were, so they were young adults, and the look on their face when offered the hug, and like a few kids, you could almost like collapsed into me. And I was like, I don't know what else you got going on in life. I don't know if things are going great or terribly or whatever, but at least today you knew you weren't alone. And I think it's important I'll say it bluntly, I think it's important for heterosexual Black men specifically to, where they can, make sure they communicate that. Because similar to what you're describing, there were a few people in the crowd who I caught eyes with. And we kind of gave each other that nod, that acknowledgement nod. And I thought, yeah, it's important. It matters. And it matters to kids we're hugging, right? Like that they see us out here and they see us acknowledging each other and they see us acknowledging them. So yeah, I appreciate that. I didn't know it was observed, but I was to use another word, I was very proud that day that we were out there. Now I had found out this was, what was going on and we could be a part of this thing. And then I contacted my buddies and they were all in except like one guy who was out of town. Like there was zero resistance to doing it. And they were also moved that before we got back to the car, they were all like, yo, we got to do this every year. And one guy was like, yeah, we got to get more guys. Another guy was like, I bet we can get 100 guys. And we were like, all right, let's try to get 100 guys. I don't know. But yeah, I was really happy to be out there. I've shared the pictures, sort of social media wise, but also I have more like a niece, but a cousin, but bloodline wise, who revealed to us or shared with us that they are queer. And I just sent a picture of me at Pride and said, I got your back.
Nice.
And I thought, like, what a great way to be able to say that. So anyway, sorry.
Orlando, that brings me back to my childhood. I grew up in the 70s and, being from a Black household, there was just no question. I mean, I couldn't be who I wanted to be. So I didn't have what you're providing today. I didn't have any mentors or role models like you just mentioned. And I think that's important. The seeing, the hearing, the understanding, and then just being there for them in that way makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Because it's lonely when you come out. It's very lonely. I felt like I was the only person that, at
Right.
the time, that young
Right.
mind,
Yeah.
you
Of
really
course.
think the only person going through this. And
Right.
so that's significant. So that's why I noticed you. I was listening, you know. So even when you don't think people are listening, they are.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. Well. Thanks. And that, when you share that, I've had other people share their stories, not your story, different, but that piece does seem to be a unifying piece of like, I'm not like this in the place where I am, and maybe I'm the only person like this on Earth. And that's like, oh, it's always, I mean, like I'm always like, oh, no, like that's so heartbreaking. And it strikes me that for whatever my other struggles were, I never had that struggle, and it's so random and unfair. Like I just liked girls. You know what I mean? Like I just. All right, like I didn't have nobody had a meeting about it. I didn't have to read no books. I just liked them, and nobody questioned it. And as a matter of fact, it was encouraged, right?
Right.
Gained me points, and the idea that someone in a family, and some of the comments I think, and again, not necessarily like epithets, but just comments I'd make or how you'd make fun of someone or in sports or, obviously, at a certain point, like a girl was like a full insult. And I look back and go, like, I did a lot of damage, bro. So I try to keep that in mind, but I don't want anybody to feel that loneliness. I really don't. That's a particular thing of mine, even beyond this issue. I just think loneliness can be, people talking about the loneliness epidemic, and that's another conversation, but I don't think we always recognize just how painful the person who is actually lonely in that moment, how painful that can be for them. So yeah. Anyway, I'm glad we connect now.
Yes. Thank you for that. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I just appreciate the fact that you're teaching. You're not just coaching, but you're teaching all the time. So I think that's powerful.
Thanks.
Yeah, so we applaud you for that.
I appreciate it. I really do. And it means a lot. I'm glad that, I cannot, I can't think of of many compliments I'd appreciate more right now. So that's good.
Nice.
Thanks. Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, we probably if you have like a final question, Corey, or if you have something final statement you want to say, Orlando,
Yeah.
this is the time. Now is the time.
Yeah, Orlando, you kind of said it before, or you were leading into it, but what is your hope? Yeah, well, I guess you do a lot for people. You do a lot for the community. So yeah, what is your hope?
It's gonna maybe sound a little grandiose, whatever it sounds. As probably is not a surprise to you as you sort of look at my stuff or whatever. I worked on and have feel good about a definition of love. And that definition is the investment in the optimization of outcomes for someone or something. And so we really talked about this for a while and even said, like, does it work for your sports team? Yes. Does it work for your spouse? Yes. Does it work for your kid? We're like, I think we got it. I think we got something good here. And I just like to see love more central to all we do. Cornel West has a quote that justice is what love looks like in public.
Yes.
And I think we should also, as a practical matter, like take morality out of it. You weren't all you could have been as a kid because you were expending some energy making sure nobody could see, right? And so we weren't getting whatever else we were going to get out of you. That energy had to go to that. And so, that's, if anything, I would want people to really think about it and really start thinking about how they're going to show up in a loving way. And to me, loving isn't all free dad hugs. It might be on that day, but sometimes loving is like, you ain't gonna say that around me. Like, so it could be all sorts of things. But I think, do we want the best for each other? Like, just fundamentally, do we want the best for each other? And honestly, I look out in the world right now and go like, who gains from that, man? Like that doesn't even benefit you. Knock it off. Like, what are we doing? So yeah, that really would be my hope. Is just like we really think about love. And again, I don't just mean that in a, heart symbol, blah, blah, blah way. I mean, practically speaking, how do we do the best for everybody? And I think we could do a lot better.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Orlando, you're a great interview.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are a solid interview.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So no, thanks for having me. Thanks for your patience. And I really am. I'm honored to be a part of this and definitely look forward to gathering more guys. Will we get to 100? We shall see, but we will certainly work on it.
We'll give you like a few months lead time.
Yeah,
I'll make sure to get those dates to you.
Yeah.
So that you can start gathering the people.
I think we'll be pleasantly surprised. I think it'll be pleasantly surprised.
I think you will be able to get a good, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So everybody's got to have their t-shirt on, get their signs ready.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
show up and show out. Yeah.
That's
show
it.
Up and show out.
That's one of my slogans with for a couple of my teams. So there you go.
Yeah,
there
exactly.
You go. I love that. All right. Well,
thank you very much for being with us today. We really.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Orlando.
Absolutely. All right. Take care now.
So, just to conclude our podcast here, one of the things we'd like to do every week is be able to answer a question from a listener. If you have one, our email is podcast@pflagla.org. And we did have a question about the word transgendered versus transition, the use of the word. Is there someone who would like to address that?
Sure, I'll step in. And firstly, I think, historically or potentially historically, the word transgender has had previously been used as a verb in the past. It is no longer used as a verb. It is an adjective to identify a person, transgender. And transition is actually, that is the verb form, or not the verb form, but it is a verb of someone who is transitioning from their, whatever they were assigned at birth to something else. So I would say you would describe someone as being a transgender person, but you would say that someone is going through a transition, perhaps, or has gone through a transition.
Well, thanks for joining us today for our PFLAG LA podcast. We release new episodes every first Tuesday of the month. And of course, you can hear us on all the different podcast platforms. Also, we'll have a YouTube version, which will be on pflagla.org. Coming up next month, please join us. We have creator and executive producer of Equality Fashion Week, Nick Casey. And that'll be in February. And I think it's time to say some thanks. This is one of our first episodes, and there's a bunch of people who helped us in the background.
My goodness. So there's so many people. We can't thank them all, but we're definitely going to thank Charlie Ocean, Maddie Reardon, and Jethro Netadog. They are really core people to maintaining and keeping the lights on at PFLAG LA and just maintaining our presence. So want to give a huge shout out to those three. Just, we could not do anything, frankly, without you. Love you. Okay.
Thank you very much. Remember, take care of yourself and each other, and we will see you next month.